Nestled on the far shores of Ketchimek Bay, accessible only by plane or by boat, is a town perched on stilts above a tidal slough, sheltered by a forest of coastal spruce trees, rimmed by pebble beaches and tide pools teeming with exotic life. There's a store and a gallery, a restaurant and a bar, and a few small hotels for the folks who make the effort to get there. Seldovia, Alaska is not on the road system, nor is it on the radars of most holiday tourists. But it is onto something special about how to create a thriving community for the people who choose to make it their home. This town is full of artwork, artists, artisans, and craftsmen. So many handy and creative people, in fact, that I was surprised when the Seldovia Arts Council invited me to come and help the community create a new mural. The council suggested that we make a design with a theme related to the firehouse and the EMS, but also something with relevance to Seldovia. Some local volunteers got right to work, prepping the doors and spreading the word about our collaborative event. A week later, armed with a tote full of paint and brushes and a gridded-off design, I showed up in town to get the mural started. That same afternoon, my family jumped in to help, using tape measures and a chalk line to snap a grid onto the doors. Felisa Higman, a local cut paper artist, kept me company the following day, sitting in the sunny grass nearby and working on a new design for her upcoming show, as I transferred the mural design onto the doors by hand. Everything seemed to be right on schedule. The following morning, I rose early to mix up jars of each color we would need. Just as I finished, the rain began. I drove the supplies the 3 blocks to the firehouse, mostly so I'd have a place to store stuff out of the rain. The fire chief pulled the emergency vehicles out of their bays and parked them in a ring around the work site. The eaves were keeping the doors nice and dry, so I set up some ladders and started to paint. Felisa showed up, and others from the Arts Council, and a whole family with kids and a baby, and suddenly there were more people than I could remember names for. Everyone was smiling out from under the hoods of their raincoats, climbing ladders, trading colors, and staying to work, hour after hour. I insisted we take a little break for lunch, but right at 3, they were back again. By the end of the day, more than 2/3 of all 3 doors had a first coat of paint, and the design was already starting to pop. The second morning saw more good progress, with many of the same workers showing up to help, as well as some new ones, and even a few who got roped in as they happened to pass by. It was raining again, but it was only after our lunch break, in the middle of the afternoon, that it began to pour. The dirt and plant-filled gutters became saturated and began to overflow, splashing down on the ladders and splattering the bottom third of the mural, marring the freshly painted colors. Luckily, one of the volunteers was cleaning the nearby library gutters, and he dashed over with his ladder and pail to literally bail us out as the rest of the crew worked to string up tarps across the workspace to protect it from further damage. Soon we were back on track, and by the end of the second day, it was hard to find an unpainted area to fill. The third day was all about the details. Everybody seemed to find the role they needed to fill.
I helped by painting this green section in here. I tried to fill in spaces. I had to think about not leaving globs of paint and making sure it's smooth, not leaving any patches.
Well, the part that I'm best suited at is filling in the big solid interior portions.
I had some videos that I had taken of an actual octopus that we looked at, and I guess we decided we want to do the light gray with white centers. So here's an example. This is the first one. And then this will have black outline and a black outline. But it's been so much fun just trying to decide where they should go.
Finally, after 3 frenzied days of collaboration, All that really remained was to paint on the acknowledgement to the community and to the Seldovia Arts Council. Just as Felisa and I showed up to do this final act, the firehouse doors began to open and out came the engine, the ambulance, and the crew. A reminder that behind the facade where we'd all been working, serious equipment was being stored. As I worked alone that afternoon, repainting the lettering one more time, someone stopped their vehicle behind me, leaned out the window, and asked me where the idea for the design had come from. I found it hard to give them a straight answer. Tide pooling, I thought, though I'd never found an octopus myself, and the sea anemones are so much more typical here. Fire hydrants? Well, a week ago, I hadn't even been 100% sure that the town had them. Some communities in the bush do not. But my final morning in Seldovia, I was invited on a tour of the town's decorated hydrants. Not just one, or 3, or 4, but more than a dozen painted hydrants all over town. Just one more proof of this town's culture of creativity. Now, wedged into a tiny, thrumming air taxi, along with 2 other passengers, 3 yowling cats, and a dog, I look down at Seldovia and wonder what I've left behind. Did the Arts Council get what they were looking for? Was the design a good choice? Or was there something else, something more valuable than paint on a wall?
So one of the things that's been most enjoyable is working with our community and meeting new people. It's been a wonderful way to see people I haven't seen in a while and to work together on art. It's just lovely.